So yeah, I was going to say earlier, the way that they funded this film, they were told by a successful filmmaker that they knew that the way to get money for a film, like the producers, you seen the producers?
Yes.
So they basically went around a load of producers' houses with like a trailer they'd shot, which had
Right.
Bruce Campbell in it, and it was just lots of shots of like a car going down a road
Okay.
and like a guy carrying a body. And I read they managed to raise like $750,000 just doing that, like going around
Shit.
houses, and that's
Yeah.
how they made the film essentially.
So they didn't have to sit in like some stuffy meeting with like a Hollywood bigwig with a fat cigar, and they just turn up and like, yeah, we got a trailer for you. Watch it.
That might be a good like intro segment actually. If we did like a little improvised scene where one of us was a producer and the other one pitches the film to that person.
The other person. I feel like that could go terribly.
Who do you want to be?
Seeing as you came with the knowledge, I'll just be the producer.
All right.
I got it.
A little bit of scene work.
Okay. Guess what?
Hi. I'm Joel and Ethan Coen. I have a film idea. I wanted to pitch to you.
Okay.
What's your name? I feel like I introduced myself and you've not said what your name is, and that's the basis of social interaction.
So, oh man,
really phlegmy. Do you want to clear your throat? Actually,
okay. My name is.
That's worse. That's actually so much worse.
Murray.
It's Murray, right? So anyway, I had this idea for a movie. It's about this guy Ray who goes off with another man's woman. And there's murder, there's intrigue, there's random cuts to sex. Clear why that's in the film. Yeah, it's good bits.
That is good.
Does that sells you on it? Does it? That's the clincher?
Yeah, I'm in. I don't even need to see shit.
Wow, I've not even told you how much money I won. Like, that's usually a key part of these Dragon's Den meetings.
Oh, I've got no money.
Oh. I'm here for money to make my film, so
you might want to go next door.
All right. Are we really going to act that out as well? A different character?
I have $10.
Okay. Well, I just need 75,000 more of those, and I'll be able to make the film then. So cool. I'll go to the next house. Bye, Murray.
Goodbye.
And then, like SNL, we should break from the sketch and like turn to the camera and go, live, not live.
Not live.
Pre-recorded from Birmingham. It's
Birmingham, Monday evening, Birmingham.
Pre-recorded from Monday evening, Birmingham. It's
Meb.
It's Meb. From
Meb.
Birmingham, Monday evening. It's Coen Thru The Motions.
What are you saying?
What are you saying, Jeff?
What are you saying, Squire? What are you saying?
We have a little thing we say at the start, like a little bit of patter, possibly.
Well, that's not going to be spontaneous or in any way natural. So
improvise.
Why not? Patter. Some patter, some pitter patter.
Yeah, some pitter patter.
Just about film.
Write me a limerick for the plot.
There once was a man called Ray.
Every limerick starts like that. Yeah, there
once was a man called Ray. Yeah, that's the quota for a limerick, isn't it? No other type of limericks exist. There once was a man called Ray who had made friends with another man's lady.
Oh, it's a weak rhyme, I would say, but
yeah.
Go on.
I'm trying to do it to the plot, mate. I was like, hang on, so Marty is this Nick Cave. Did you think he looked like Nick Cave and like Richard Nixon fucking smashed together?
I can see the Nixon. I don't think I know what Nick Cave looks like. But I might look it up now and see if I...
Yeah, please, because this is just the whole thing. I was looking at him. I was I didn't know that.
You're halfway through your limerick. You're halfway through your limerick, and you've not really covered any plot yet. That's not in like the first 5 minutes. Oh, he does look like Nick Cave. You're right.
He does, and also he's got that crazy wave chin that he had. that fucking dimple on that chin was.
It's such
deep.
a look. I don't know what else that actor's been in, but he's very distinctive face.
The other thing as well, I should note it down. The names of the characters in the film. It was only about halfway through. I was like, he's Ray, and it was only Mai at the start and Maurice. Because they just say his name for the whole film.
Do you think that's purposeful then? That they give one guy a repeated name lots of times and the other characters, they kind of don't really say their names as much?
I feel just at times thinking, I don't know any of these characters' names. And I still can't remember the lead female actor's name. The character's name, sorry. I want to say Helena, but I think Helena's someone else in the film. The person that Maurice is seeing, I think, because that's like a little side bit that happens. But I suppose that's there because
I like that a lot, though.
Yeah,
like, that's the thing about the Coen Brothers, and we'll talk about like their hallmarks and their trademarks maybe a bit later. But all their little like bit characters are really well developed, and they have a strong kind of sense of like fleshed out 3 dimensions to them. Yeah,
for sure. Like Maurice has a big scene of like confrontation, doesn't he, with Ray after that all goes down. I like as well that it's not just some massive crime thing. Everyone's involved, like state police or whatever. It's just this condensed plot point that happens between these characters, and it starts unraveling from there further. But yeah, just giving characters like that, as you said, like that fleshing out and those moments of like actually giving them something to do, I suppose. And
like weird little bits of like, would you call it like kitsch kind of like props, like the fish that are in the film and like slowly rotting as the film progresses. That's really like memorable. Like I find that with all the Coen Brothers films, is there are little bits that like stick out, and like a week later I'll think like, oh yeah, that was like odd. Like why did they do that?
But it's not like it's just there, and you just remember it because it's so. It almost kind of feels a bit out of place in the kind of film that you're watching.
Can we just talk about the plot quickly just to get it out of the way, and then I have it at least so I can like edit in the good point.
To keep it in this order, Joe. I feel like this is the perfect order. Is to leave the plot of what you're talking about to the very end.
Yeah, because imagine if you hadn't seen this film, which like we hadn't before we did this podcast. So our audience is only people who are doing Coen Brothers podcast, I suppose. Yeah. But stop being too meta, I guess. We start off, very little information is given to us. The 2 characters, Ray and Abby, they're driving away. It seems like the whole film, I thought, at least to start with, might be this kind of pursuit where they're being chased across America kind of thing. Like I got that vibe to start with.
Yeah.
They stop off at a hotel. They get down to it, I'm not going to lie.
It's almost like a comedy bit, isn't it? It's just like a hard cut. They're just like, what do you want to do now? And it's hard cuts and then just bumping uglies. But
yeah, and also constantly in this film, no one has heard of curtains at all. Like you can always just point a camera through. I get really stressed out about that. I can't imagine there are people who are just fucking with like the curtains wide open and like.
And seemingly these bungalows you're living in with no curtain.
Yeah, this guy is taking like pictures of them. He shows them to this woman, Abby, which is a really forgettable name, I feel, Abby, for your main lead. But she gives them photos to Ray, this guy does.
So this kind of private detective, then with his fantastic get-up, I think the colour is this kind of almost pale yellow place, what do you call it? Leisure suits, they call them in America, don't they? With this kind of Stetson hat. It's talking
kind of like the rich Texan from The Simpsons.
That's the
whole kind of look, isn't it? I think it is literally just the rich Texan. I don't know if he probably has a name. There've been 30 seasons of that show. Everyone's like had their own episode. They did a Mole Man episode. Do you know that? Like a whole episode about Mole Man.
Marty, who owns this bar, who is the husband of Abby, they're chatting, and it's kind of, you're just kind of left to start picking up. You got to kind of just catch up with the film at the start, and you're like, it's just happening.
Yeah, that's a very trademark thing. I feel is like would you call it like in media res? I guess kind of like halfway between.
You've gone past all the she started seeing this other guy, which is like what you were saying with the whole. You thought it would be a pursuit thing, which is why it's weird that it's actually just kind of a very sedentary. She's just like staying in his house, and they know exactly where everyone is at all times. Like that's basically it. But
Yeah.
it's all going on. And it's quite.
They're very restrained with the information they give you to start with. So first of all, you only kind of have Abby's perspective of this guy. So you don't know if he is actually like abusive, as she's saying, or if she's kind of just like making it up a little bit. And you get little bits more of information, and it kind of all develops. But I think we can say pretty decidedly he was a piece of shit, really. Ray, right? Like no, Marty. Sorry, Ray was alright.
Ray was kind of alright. I think we can get to this later about that, the whole thing with the like men in this film. I think, and like why it kind of goes into that famous or almost like horror genre kind of ending. But yeah, so he's got this relationship with this private detective who's just like an absolute fucking scumbag. Everyone's so fucking sweaty in this film. Like the heat is like, I think it's plays a big part. Like everyone's so sweaty and everyone's like kind of fucking on edge. So he says to the guy like, "Don't you fucking come around here again," or something like that. He leaves him alone. It's like he knows now that Abby has left him essentially. And then Marty tries to hit on Maurice's girlfriend. At that point, so he's obviously just trying to be like.
He is pretty creepy with that woman, though, isn't he? Like, I think
it's you kind of work out that he's a prick by that point because he just tells Maurice to go like continue with his job while he hits on Maurice's girlfriend.
I mean, you've done bar work, right? Not to pigeonhole you or call you out or anything. So is that something that happens? Like, is that
not particularly. I think
not unless you're like living in Roadhouse, which apparently this film is. But you get the sense, I think, throughout it, anything could happen. Like you don't really, and there's a dream sequence like a lot later on where Marty kind of turns up and he's sitting on her bed, and that's the only time I think where they lie to you and they like show you something that's not real. And when that happens, you are kind of for a second like, could he still be alive?
Yeah,
obviously not, but like,
when they show you that dream sequence where you're like, is he kind of alive? And it's kind of lying to you. Is when I noticed like they started doing like these weird transitions. Do you notice them of like frame matching? So like there's one where like someone's pressing down on something, I can't remember what it is, and it just like frame matches to the next thing, and it's like, but that hasn't happened for the entire film. And then there's another one where she like falls back into bed.
That's
when all that stuff really kind of happens.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's
kind of showing her disorientation, because by that point everything's confused and people know like part of the story and they're leaping to like assumptions, and there's this whole sense the whole film through that is kind of, I would call Coen Brothers like pretty fatalistic, if you'd agree, because you've got like the 3 bullets in the gun at the start and then the gun fires the 3 bullets. You've got like the lighter under the fish and they keep cutting back this lighter, but I don't think anyone ever finds it. Do they find it eventually?
No, I think that's just there to be a piece for like he's gonna get found out, this private detective who is the one that murders Marty, because Marty pays him to kill Abby and Ray because he's pretty pissed, man. And then instead he shoots Marty
and fakes the photograph, right?
Yeah, so there's a photograph that he takes to show him like this, they're dead, but he fakes that.
You don't know at that point if that is a fake or not, because it kind of shows him like coming up to them right outside the window, and then it cuts to the photograph, and then the next thing is him meeting with Marty and showing him the photograph. You don't know straight away, right, if it's real or not. It's only revealed kind of later that when he takes the photos back to kind of cover his tracks and he cleans them off, and that's when he realizes the lighter's still in the bar where he shot Marty, and you think it's going to be this piece of evidence that gets found out when the law get involved, but it just doesn't fucking happen. Like, just not, it's just there, and it's just forgotten about. But it's still like it's a thing. It's still there in the back of your head while you're watching it. There is a bit later on, right, where he goes to light a cigarette and he's kind of patting his pockets and realizing that he lost it, and that gets him to go back. So you'd expect it to be a bigger kind of really. This guy shoots Marty. Ray comes in, does he? We keep coming back to this room, and it's always like it's this really complicated thing where people are always coming in and out. It's like the film The Room, like people are just coming in and out of this room.
Because it's what a fantastic reference there. If you haven't seen The Room, go watch it, because everyone has to watch that film now, because it's bad, man. It's a bad film. Yeah. Anyway,
and that's part of why I wanted to do this, was like watching like good films or films that could be good. That we know nothing about. So like I say, anything could have happened in this film. I really had no idea what I was getting in for. And then also as well, it's kind of nice to discover like films that have been forgotten, isn't it? Like
It is.
celebratory. There's
Films that you never would have seen
negativity
before.
on the internet. Let's just kind of be happy and
That's
say we like things.
right.
There's one way to justify it to ourselves, and make it a little less narcissistic, but
To say that we've done something. Why is the door to this room? Yeah, just wooden slats.
because there's also like a fire, like a constantly raging fire out the back, like a furnace.
I guess like it's kind of important, but I feel like it's just there so that he can ditch, like Ray can ditch evidence when he gets stuff up, because there's no reason for it to just be constantly fucking burning. Or maybe it's beyond us, beyond our understanding. But
We got the first two of what I'd say would be the big set pieces. The other one being like right at the end where she like climbs across and so Ray finds this body. He realizes that it looks like he's responsible for it, so he has to cover it up. So he puts it in a car, throws away the evidence in the furnace, and then as he's driving, he starts to wake up. And then Marty, yes.
Yeah, so we have the other thing is like there's a gun. So Abby, there's a
pearl
gun.
grip.
The pearl grip gun.
3 bullets in it.
Ray recognizes that it's Abby's gun. I think he must do, because there's a whole thing with him as well, thinking that, because there's a bit with him and Abby being I covered for you.
He thinks that she killed him because he doesn't know about the Texan guy. Like, no one really knows about the Texan guy apart from Marty. And then Marty dies, so it's like no one knows this guy exists. It's really fun, but like it's weird. Like weird as a plot device. But,
these 80s teenagers that are just hanging out on their cars on a dusty road on a ridge in America, and he's like hanging out with them.
And he's like, that woman thought I was smoking weed or whatever. It's just a cigarette. Just completely
it's
pointless.
Fucking laughing. Did he remind you as well of the way that he was like saying shit of John C. Reilly?
Oh, a little actually.
There's a John C. Reilly. I think it's called like the Sisters Brothers. So John C. Reilly and Joaquin Phoenix play these two like bounty hunters in the Old West. So John C. Reilly's putting on this kind of deep South accent, and he sounds exactly. Was it Emmett Walsh is the guy who plays the private detective we're talking about? Yeah, it just reminded me of John C. Reilly. Just the way he talks throughout the whole thing. Anyway,
I read some trivia, and you never know how true this trivia is. But they said that Emmett Walsh was the oldest guy on set, basically. Because I think the Coen brothers got together with a lot of their friends at the time who were probably younger people.
Right, okay, yeah. I mean, he was fucking ancient.
Yeah, he's still alive, though, apparently.
I'd say it's interesting enough to a degree if you think that the guy looks fucking ancient, Joe. Like, to say he was the oldest guy on set, I mean, like, yeah, fair enough. But I guess if it's a young production, and like you said, like they're just getting their mates together, because the Coen brothers can't have been that old when they made this.
Yeah, do you know about the production of this film? I did a little bit of research into it. So they I can't remember. Oh, I'm gonna get all of this wrong. And even then, it's like shit people have written on IMDb anyway, so it's probably not even correct to start with. So it's like this game of, you can't say Chinese whispers, this game of telephone down the line. And,
nice.
Nice correction. See, I saved it there. I still said the original thing, so it's still offensive, but now it's annoying as well. So
that's what it's. So what we've got here is either you keep it in and look like an ignorant fool, or we edit it out and then what we say afterwards, good save, means no sense. So that's completely useless then.
I could do it again clean, to use an industry term.
Yeah, go on.
I can't remember what I said now. What did I say? Yeah, it's like a game of telephone. What is though? I guess that's the case for all films, and like you get these kind of things like Legends, where they talk about like Kubrick making The Shining and shit, and how he put his actors through all these things, and I think they get talking up to be bigger than they were. So there's a degree of like information being lost along the way. Frances McDormand once noted in a 1996 interview that M. Emmett Walsh was the oldest person on the set, and 26 out of 48 people found that interesting.
26?
Yeah. 22 did not. Yeah, it's not good, is it?
That's not bad going, is it? Although apparently he was in Knives Out, Did you see that film?
I've seen Knives Out. Yeah, who does he play in that?
Oh, I was trying to remember. I didn't look any further into it, which goes to show my extent of research. But
Right, this is great
sorry,
podcasting.
tangent.
Emmett Walsh was paid his whole salary in cash. 40 out of 40 people found that interesting.
Wow.
So maybe there is kind of a legend
That's
to
a
this
clean
guy
sweep.
where he's a bit of an odd. So that's another thing in Hollywood, isn't it? Like the thing that Bill Murray has, like a telephone that you call up and you leave an answer phone message there, and that's how he decides whether he gets his roles or not.
That's cool. Like you get to a point of your acting career.
I guess it's
That's
quite
pretty
hard
badass.
as an aging film star, isn't it? Really, because you either go like the Jim Carrey, Tom Cruise route and like try and pretend that you're young forever, or like Harrison Ford, you just kind of is sad and grumpy and old, and like, just hanging out and like
the Harrison Ford fan service. Like obviously Star Wars is a big one, but I feel like with that at least he was like, "But I'll do one fucking film, yeah, one film and I'm fucking going, man." Like, and then Blade Runner, he turns up for all of like 10 minutes.
Yeah, so. In like a t-shirt he was probably just wearing anyway. Like it's like a horrible grey sweaty t-shirt.
I imagine that's how he talks. I don't fucking know. Like he's old and grizzly now.
Yeah, and really into weed, I think, as well. And he flies a plane. He's a pilot, isn't he? Like that's a whole thing.
I imagine he lives in California. That's what people do. They smoke and fly their prop planes.
It's all right for some, isn't it?
Quite.
Okay.
Anyway,
this is a massive tangent. Are we still going to try and go through the plot? Is there much plot left to go? I guess, do we do this from the perspective that people would have seen the film before they're listening to this?
I think you have to. I don't know anyone that would look at the title of it with a blood simple and be like, oh yeah, that sounds great.
But what if you liked another one of the episodes because you had seen that film and then you...
Perhaps. Yeah, well then, it's a fine line you got to walk in podcasting, you know. Yeah. It's not all easy breezy. Anyway, plot. No. So Ray drags Marty's body into the back of his car.
Yes.
Marty wakes up and Ray kind of freaks out. Does everyone carry a shovel in their car? I feel like there was no reason for him to have a shovel. There's no like...
They're just like 80s movie men, aren't they? They're like Kevin Bacon in Tremors. Like they just hang out and like live out of like a Chevrolet and drive about and dig things, and that's their job.
So he buries him alive in a shallow grave on ploughed land, which I feel like bad choice. You wouldn't normally bury someone in earth that's regularly turned over, but maybe that's the whole like amateurish, like he's never done this before kind of thing. I don't know.
He tries to fire the second bullet right when he's being buried alive, but he's like too weak to actually pull the trigger, and it's like a whole standard.
Well, because now you say that, I thought it was just that the bullets had been fired, but then I couldn't, because he's clicking it, and
he's clicking it. Yeah,
the hammer is hitting whatever. So I don't know why. Is it jammed? Maybe it's jammed.
But then it fires later, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because the first time it goes off, it's like just on the floor, and it happens like at random, seemingly.
Oh yeah, because he kicks it.
In.
Yeah, so he kicks it, I think, and then it goes off. So that's the second bullet.
And then the third one is obviously right at the end where Abby shoots Emmett Walsh.
Yeah, Emmett Walsh. And then Ray just drives home.
Yeah, like he still thinks that Abby has done this and like left it for him to cover up, I guess, which is like a crazy assumption to make. But I guess if you've got a dead body in your hands, you're not going to like start calling people and be like, "Is this your dead body?" Just be like, "All right, I'll deal with it." And there's a bit earlier on where they like buy a flat, and it's like a scene just out of nowhere. And then after this, they're just now living in this flat. And it's like it's a nice flat. It's got like a massive window, which again they never shut the curtains on. So later the guy's shooting them through the window.
Oh man, that sniper overlay for that sniper scope. That's fantastic. It's like it's not cardboard, so it's digitally put on. It's not even going to be funny to explain it because it's. How do you explain just like plain sniper scope?
I can put up an image of it now for the YouTube video.
Oh, we have visuals on this? Or it might not even prove my point at all, because people might just be like, that's fine.
Yeah, they did the best of what they had, though. Stop being so fucking cynical, you piece of shit.
So yeah, that's the flat.
So yeah, I think they're still developing their style. But I think this is remarkably this is like a good blueprint for what they would do later on. I think everything is there. Like it's genuinely like enjoyable to watch, and like it doesn't overstay its welcome. And bits like at the end where
the runtime. I said there's a 99 minutes. Thank you very much. Sorry, you said
it's like No Country for Old Men, which is like over 2 hours. But anyway, then we get down to this final kind of showdown where Emmett Walsh is attacking this studio apartment. Through the window, the light keeps getting turned on and off, and he'll like find his shot, and then the light gets turned off again, and it's this whole thing. He ends up shooting Ray, but by that point, Abby has worked out enough to hide and turn the light off, and she's like throwing things at the light switch.
She misses once. She hoofs her shoe, and then she gets it the second time. It's like the perfect shot. Also, it's a good thing it was a naked light bulb, wouldn't it? Because if it had a lampshade on it,
it would have taken like 5 more shoes or whatever. They should just shoe rack.
Just slinging these
it's for 10 minutes. It keeps coming back to Emmett Walsh, and he's like
with his sniper and is like peering because it's a very tense moment. I think the film, it does like tonally, the genres kind of all go all over the place, but I think it seems to remain the tone that it sets out.
Like the bit in the plowed field is very horror, I'd say, where he's disposing of the body. And that final scene is very horror, where it's like in the dark, and like he puts his hand through the window.
I instantly thought of Halloween. It was Michael Myers coming in to get Jamie Lee Curtis, and it was it's like the final girl theory, essentially, isn't it? Because like these violent blokes like just killing each other off in this way, and it's very horror-esque. I think I agree.
So he comes in, and she's like in the bathroom. And she manages to get out the window and like crawl over to the flat next door. And he like puts his hand through and like tries to open the window, and she just fucking stabs him with a knife, and his hand's stuck there. And it's just very stressful. I'm not sure I can do another one of these. So she runs all the way round, where it's kind of like they're kind of doing the Benny Hill thing, where they're just going round and round and round. And they could have dragged out another 20 minutes as well if they'd wanted to. He's through the door. She still thinks it's Marty because she doesn't know that Marty's dead. She says a line like, "Fuck you, Marty, you're dead." And Emmett Walsh is like, well, when I see him, I'll tell him.
Yeah, as he dies. Yeah. That is the closing.
And then the final shot is like his POV as he's staring up at like the bottom of a sink, and a drop of water starts to form. And like that was really, that like stuck in my mind for a while, like, because that was like the final image he would have seen as he died, I guess. Which is, and it's a really like dark and horrible ending, and then they cut to like the upbeat pop song. And it's like,
so that's kind of that's the plot. I don't know if we cover that with much clarity, but
But we've kind of just done that really like scatter shot, so it'll come together in the edit. Don't worry. Don't worry.
We're just giving you more work to do.
Third segment, I guess, of just fucking waffle about bullshit. But so we finish on some kind of rating scale. So I suppose we've both been pretty vocal about the fact we really enjoyed Blood Simple. What's in this film prominently?
A scale of Ray to Maurice.
How many rotting fish would you give this film, and how rotten are they?
Oh, interesting. As in, rotting fish in the film is a standpoint for how good it is.
I don't. It's up to you. Interpret
more rotting fish.
As you will.
Seeing as we did a whole bit, which you can't now cut out, on how we enjoyed having these kind of props that don't really do anything, but they just kind of ingrained in your head now. It's going to be a good thing. So I would give it 7 and a fish head worth of rotting fish.
And how fresh are they?
Pretty rotten, man. You can't catch 7 fish, like line caught fish, all together.
My fish are being caught by a net, so.
Oh, okay. So they're all the same.
Yeah, they're all the same.
Same freshness.
4 of them are a week old, and then there's one on top that's like still alive and twitching a little bit.
Oh, so you're giving it a 5.
Yeah.
But it's a pretty fresh 5, so it's an uncertain 5.
Yeah, and it's a completely arbitrary metric as well, so it doesn't really matter.
It doesn't really matter. No. Okay. I did enjoy the film. I feel like I would recommend it. Maybe if, like us, especially the people that like Coen Brothers films that haven't seen like their early stuff, because like you said, it is a good blueprint. They do a lot that you see they kind of when they start to master their own kind of style, that they kind of follow that, and there is enough there that is worthy of a 99-minute runtime, I think.
Yeah, so, doesn't overstay its welcome, does everything it needs to do. lots of like really memorable set pieces and shots and stuff. So yeah, good movie.
Good fish.
Join us next time as we coalesce the Coen-less.
No, we're going to Coen more, Joe, from here on out.
Right.
But that doesn't make sense. So.
I don't know what. Yeah, I don't know what we're talking about anymore. We've lost all meaning.
Much like a Coen Brothers film, it doesn't really have to have a meaning.
Yeah, it's come full circle.
Look at that. I think we don't need to do any more episodes, Joe. I think we've like how we started. We peaked again.
Yeah, we didn't do the Big Lebowski. We did the Coen Brothers film no one's ever heard of. Yeah, we're done. That's it. Completed. Chef's kiss.
I don't know what that means.